Shalom, Israel, shalom, shalom. Brother Naquam, watchman for Israel, coming back at you with these precepts. Add another cold cut, giving, of course, all honor, all honor and glory to Yahweh, Shema Mashiach, Malak Bashad. Double honors to the elect elders of the house of David that's been in this truth for decades and decades, patiently waiting and laboring for the second coming of our Lord Yahweh Shai. A hearty, mighty shalom to all of the mighty men of the Most High God who are out there in the highways and byways, pushing this truth, magnifying the ministry, presenting their bodies as a living sacrifice, and enduring all things for the elect's sake. Shalom to those men. Shalom to the men that may not be out there in the highways and byways as of yet, but they're working on it. They're getting built up in the spirit. They're praying. They're fasting. They're studying. They're being diligent and abounding in the work of the Lord. Shalom to those men. Shalom to all of the Aquath out there, the sincere sisters that are out there, zealous, diligent, and on fire, and moving in the spirit of our righteous foremothers. Shalom to the ancient men. Shalom to the children. Shalom to the elect of Israel scattered abroad throughout the four corners of the earth. And Shabbat Shalom to everybody tuning in live through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Awashai, Yvette McKellar, Diners with Tamid, HBK Int, Get Fit, Server 144K, Slaki Nakamaya, Shalom King, Kyoko Banyamian, Nigel Blend, Shalom Williams, Benjamin Youngwolf, Shalom, these Delphius, all praise to the Most High, Yahweh Bashmi Awashai, Shalom, Brother Ezra, Shalom King, Antonio Brayboy, Shalom King, Tapua, and everybody else that's tuning in, and again, and that will tune in, Lord willing. Last prophecy ever, the world to come, right? The last prophecy ever, the world to come. So we're going to dive into this topic through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Awashai. There are prophecies, of course, that Yahweh Bashmi Awashai has set up through the spirit, but there's a chronology of prophecy, and there's a key of understanding when certain prophecies are going to fall in place. All prophecies are not going to run concurrently. All prophecies don't run at the same time. The Lord has done everything in measure and in season. We're going to touch on the last prophecy in the Bible, right? But first, let's go to Proverbs chapter 4 and 7, right? It reads, wisdom is the principal thing, therefore get wisdom, and with all thy getting, get understanding. So yes, we have acquired the wisdom through the gift and mercy. It's a gift from Yahweh Bashmi Awashai to obtain wisdom. It's not something that man can do on their own, but wisdom is the principal thing. It's the chief thing that we have to obtain. So brothers get wisdom, and they understand that the prophecies, they understand about Jacob's trouble. Brothers get wisdom, and they speak to martial law. They speak to the ICBM missiles, World War III, famine. They speak of prophecies, and that's the principal thing to obtain that wisdom. The Lord also said, and with all thy getting, get understanding. So now you have to know, once you know that the prophecies are going to happen, such as the chariots coming, you may know about the second wilderness, you may go into the nations building up the kingdom. Now the understanding is going to have you understand how these events are going to fall in order, right? Does Jacob's trouble come before the chariots? Or did the chariots come before World War III? And now you start reading these prophecies, and you begin, the Most High begins to enlighten you as you get the understanding of how these things are going to play out, you know, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Bashmi Awashai, right? And you have prophecies that are mentioned of old, and you have prophecies that Yahweh Bashmi Awashai revealed to certain men as those men, you know, came on the scene through the spirit, right? Let's go to the book of Acts 1 and 6 real quick, right? We're going to touch on this. This is Acts chapter 1 and verse number 6. When they therefore were come together, they asked of him, saying, Lord, wilt thou at this time restore again the kingdom to Israel? So the apostles, after Yahushua resurrected, they asked him, when are you going to restore the kingdom again to Israel? And that shows you that the spirit that the apostles, Peter, you know, John, James, all of the men of the Lord, they were literally longing and begging for the kingdom of heaven to be established. They really thought when Yahushua, what scholars call the triumphal entry, when he came into Jerusalem for the Passover, they thought that that was the time that they would be delivered. That's why they spread straw in the way, and they waved the palms, and they said, Hosanna, Hosanna, save now in the highest, paraphrasing. So they really thought he was going to save them at that time. That's what they said, save now. They thought he would overthrow the Roman Empire. So when he resurrected, they said, is it time now? Right? Is it time? On the Mount of Olives, you spoke about the end of the world. Is it going to happen now? Verse number 7. And he said unto them, it is not for you to know the times or the seasons which the Father hath put in his own power. So there are certain times and seasons that we have to be knowledgeable about. Now, the exact time and season that Yahweh Shah is going to return, the Most High hath not given that unto man. Man doesn't know the day or the hour, right? But man understands based off of the prophecies that are coming to pass how soon we are to getting out of here. Can you do it to the exact minute or the exact hour? Can you say I have 400 hours left? We have 3 years left, 6 months and 3 weeks? No. But based off of the prophecies that the Most High is revealing on the earth, you have a more sure understanding, right? And that's what the Lord said in the book of 2 Peter, that we have a more sure word of prophecy, right? This is 2 Peter chapter 1 and verse number 19. We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth in a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star arise in your hearts. So what does it mean to have a more sure word of prophecy? It means that in the 1500s, 1400s, they didn't know what Babylon the Great was. They didn't understand that Babylon the Great was America. They may have read about the arrows of the Lord, but they may not have thought that they were prophetically talking about the missiles. As the Most High leaves generations on the earth, understanding increases. And those men who are the men of the Lord in those respective generations, they have more understanding of what the Most High is put into the prophet's hearts. Certain things that you may read in the book of Revelation, they may not have known way back in the 1200s, 1300s, BC times. Why? Because the technology wasn't there yet, right? So the visions that they saw, they couldn't comprehend what John the Revelator saw. They couldn't comprehend what certain things that Jeremiah saw. But the Lord said, knowledge shall be increased. So the understanding of prophecy, it's also going to increase as we get closer and closer to the day of the Lord, right? But let's read on. It reads, so I can read this again. We have also a more sure word of prophecy, whereunto ye do well that ye take heed, as unto a light that shineth into a dark place, until the day dawn and the day star rise in your heart. So the similitude is the same way that you see the night slowly fading away and it approaches the morning. It's the same way that wisdom is increasing throughout the generations, right? And you have prophecies that run in a respective order, right? But one thing that brothers have to understand is, brothers, with the more sure word of prophecy, you have to understand the times that we're in, right? Let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 4 real quick, right? Because and I'm not going to go and spend ample time to tell you that you're in the last days. By this time, brothers should have equipped with that understanding that we're living in the end of the world. I mean, we say it every camp, huh? And Jacob called unto his sons and said unto them, gather yourselves together that I may tell you what shall befall you in the last days, right? So we know we're living in the end of the world based off of what's written and based off of the prophecies, right? But this world is slowly fashioning away. And we're approaching a new world, which is the world to come, right? So let's go to 2 Ezra chapter 4. And I believe I want to start at 26, right? We're approaching the world to come. The times and the seasons and a more sure word of prophecy lets us know that the world to come draws nigh, right? We're going to explain the world to come and what that means, right? And what's actually going to happen in the world to come, right? 2 Ezra 4 and 26. Then answered he me and said, the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel, for the world hasteth fast to pass away. So the Lord said that the more that Ezra would search out what would happen to the righteous, why would the Most High allow this society to continue? Why did he set the heathen up? The more that you begin to search wisdom, knowledge, and understanding, the more you're going to marvel, because the Most High is going to reward you for seeking it out. So what he reveals to you, it's going to be marvelous to you. But also, he said, the more thou shalt search, it's like the more thou searchest, the more thou shalt marvel, for the world hasteth fast to pass away. And the world is hastening fast to pass away, man. The world that is talking about is not the planet Earth. And we've covered this before. This world is not talking about the entire earth within itself. Remember, the Most High said in Ecclesiastes that the earth endureth forever. Right? Let's actually get that. Ecclesiastes, Slakia, the first chapter, 1 and 4. Right? Ecclesiastes chapter 1 and verse 4. One generation passeth away, and another generation cometh, but the earth abideth forever. So when the Lord said in the second Ezra that the world passeth away, he's speaking about the generations on the earth. The ages of man begin to pass away. This age that we currently live in, it's slowly fading away. You can see the people are waxing worse. Sin is abounding. Iniquity is at an all-time high. Everything is getting worse. The food is getting worse. The music is getting worse. People's minds, the behaviors, the architecture, the infrastructure, everything slowly corrupting and deteriorating, and things are waxing worse and worse. Society is decaying within itself, man. Right? With the inventions and AI and sorcery and witchcraft and morals are going out the window. People don't believe in the Most High anymore. You can clearly see that the world hasteth fast to pass away. Right? And we brought this this definition out at camp. I'm gonna bring that out later. This is right. The word is decadence, right? It reads characterized, or it's like it characterized by or reflecting a state of moral or cultural decline. And this is a beautiful definition and a perfect definition for America, man. Right? Reflecting a state of moral or cultural decline. And there are no more morals in these generations, in this age, man. And this age has fashioned away. You could be a pedophile. There's no morals. You could be a transsexual. You could be a freak. You could be a creep. You could be a damn warlock. You could be a witch. You could build a satanic temple and get funding from it. Synonyms are degenerate, corrupt, depraved, dissipated, dissolute. So all societies, chiefly this so-called white man society, at one time he tried to paint himself to be a pilgrim, a Puritan, a Christian, but that was a facade. And now as the generations increase on the earth, it's being revealed that this man is nothing but a devil, right? And cultural decline is at an all-time high, right? So that's how you know that the world is slowly hastening to pass away through the spirit. And this word world means age. It means an age, a time period, the age of man. Let's go into that definition, world, right? Here's the word world. Etymology, it means human secular existence. It reads pursuits, pleasures, and worries of this life. Also a long period of time. So the word world is really dealing with a time period. The human race, mankind, humanity, but not the earth. Because the earth, the elements of the earth, the soil, the roots of the trees, the leaves, all of these things are going to continue no matter what. But the human race within its time period is slowly coming to an end, right? It reads with a literal sense, age of man, right? Age of man. Let's jump down. From the Latin saeculum can mean both age and world or eon, right? So the world that's passing away is the current age. And that's why you have, which I pulled up earlier, but I didn't go into it. That's why you have different generations that have different names because they represent the different ages at that time, right? Like you have the baby boomers, or then you have, Generation X, and you have the millenniums. These are different generations that occupy this current world, right? And Esau knows that, man. That's why he names these generations, right? So you have the lost generation. They're just about out of here, man, right? Yeah, unless you're 128 years old, if you're part of the lost generation, it's over with, right? You'll be in the kingdom somewhere. The interbellum generation, the greatest generation, the silent generation, baby boomers, Generation X, Xennials, Generation Y, Generation Z, and Generation Alpha. So Generation Z, That's what we call this the last generation. And the so-called white man, he had to start over and say alpha, as if they're going to start all over again. These are the last generations on the earth, man. This generation, from starting from where we at, about baby boomers on out, this is it, man. This is it. Everybody else has faded away. And that's why they call this Generation Z, because it's the last letter in the alphabet. And he started over again in hopes that they will continue and start this life all over again and their kingdom will continue. But the Most High is bringing it to an end. So even these scholars, these men who study societies and how they flourish, they have named each generation. And they also name different ages. That's where you have the Iron Age, right? You have the Stone Age. You know, you have all these different ages. You have the Bronze Age. Let's see if we can pull up the different ages of man. Different ages of history, right? Medieval period. The Lord calls that the Middle Age or the Middle Time, right? The Contemporary period, right? Contemporary age, prehistory, age of Enlightenment, right? The Protestant Reformation. They have all these different ages. The Bronze Age, right? The Iron Age. So you have a list of time periods and a list of different epochs that is set up, huh? Right? That they set up. And all nations, they divide their societies into different ages, right? You're looking at, in Iran, they have the ancient age, the medieval age, and the modern age, right? And you see this amongst different societies, right? Same thing amongst the Elamites. Every ancient nation divides up their life into different time periods. The Bronze Age in India, the Iron Age, right? The Classical Age, the Medieval Age, and the Modern Age. And the Most High, he divides up his creation that he created into different ages. They're broken down to different generations on a smaller level. Then on a greater level, they're broken down into different ages, which God calls worlds, right? They're broken down into different worlds. And the age that we're going to focus on is the world to come, or the eternal age and the age to come. Because right now, this world, this age is fading away. This age is fading away. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 14. And you can tell, man. Like I said, everything's corrupt. Things are destroyed. Everything's polluted. If you can't tell, even the average Joe can tell that this is the last age, right? They say, I can feel it. And they always mention the weather. The weather's changing, and you know the fishes are beaching themselves up on the shore, and the birds are falling out. So even some average people have some type of spiritual understanding about what's going on, man. 2nd Ezra chapter 14 and verse number 9 to further break this down. For thou shalt be taken away from all, and from henceforth thou shalt remain with my son, and with such as be like thee, until the times be ended. The times being ended is this current age, right? And this current age, like we went into before, the starting time period is when Adam and his wife sinned, right? When Adam and Eve sinned and accepted the philosophies of the other nations, that's when this current age began. And then this age is from that time period all the way up until the day that Yahushua returns. That's the present evil world that we live in. The times being ended is speaking about that time period, from the time that Adam went off until the day that Yahushua returns. That's the age that we currently dwell in. Within that age are different generations of flesh and blood that come on the earth. But this is the last generation on the earth. And in this age, this is the last generation of this age. All right? Hope brothers understand. That's how the Most High breaks down man and time, right? He deals with ages and worlds and generations. He doesn't bring everybody on the earth at once. He breaks it down, right? Little by little. So the Lord told Ezra that you're going to be taken away and you're going to be in the spirit world until the end of this world. Verse number 10. For the world hath lost his youth, and the times begin to wax old. For the world is divided into 12 parts, and the 10 parts of it are gone already, and half of a 10th part. And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part. So again, the world being divided into 12 parts is this age, the timeline of man on the earth. And it's divided into 12 parts, like a clock. 10 parts of it are gone already, would mean that it's 10 o'clock. But it also says, and half of the 10th part. So 10 parts are gone, and an extra half is gone. And there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part. So after about 10:30 or so, it's the time that the Most High is saying, right? So here's a clock right here. We had this pulled up. He said 10 parts of it are gone already, and half of the 10th part, and there remaineth that which is after the half of the 10th part, right? So around the time of Ezra, this was the time, right? Roughly around this time. Again, this was around 450, 457 BC, 2,500 years ago, all right, a little after 1030. So as time goes on, the Lord is likening the age of man to the succession of time. So you would understand and put into perspective what time we're in now. Because once it hits midnight, that's the end of this age. So if it was 1030 around 2,500 years ago, it would have to be, at least 3 seconds till midnight, 2 seconds till midnight. Now, what the so-called white man did was he studied the book of Ezra, and he himself manufactured his own doomsday clock, man. Let's pull this up. And where did he get a doomsday clock from? He got it from the scriptures, man. He has his own doomsday clock that we've always been went into, where he says it's 89 seconds till midnight. Well, he's going off. See, that's because he's not a prophet or a man of the Lord. So his timing is off. It's not 89 seconds till midnight, right? It's about 3 seconds till midnight. So he's trying to measure the time. He's trying to figure this thing out. He's reading the book of Second Ezra. He's trying to go into the prophecies, but he doesn't have the understanding. Right? Don't let the so-called white man tell you how close it is to their own destruction. Right? They're not going to know. It's going to fall upon them as a snare. But we, through the Spirit, we understand how close we are to getting out of here. Right? Verse number 13. Now, therefore, set thine house in order and reprove thy people. Comfort such of them as be in trouble, and now renounce corruption. So when it hits midnight, that's going to be the end of this age, right? That's going to be the end of this man's age. And whose age? The so-called white man's age, right? Because he's running the earth in these last few, really, let's say during the time of Ezra, the Persians were in power around 1030, right? So let's say theoretically, you had the Greeks that was in power maybe around, 1040. Then the Romans were in power, right? Let's say around, let's say 1050 and so forth and so on. All the way up until all these nations were in power, up until now, it's about 11:59 with 3 seconds left. Right? Once it hits midnight, that's the end of this world. And then you have another world that's coming. The new world is the world to come, right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shai. Let's go to Ecclesiastes chapter 8 and 5, right? And if you're part of the elect, see, the world to come isn't for everybody. Everybody in this age, in this world, they're not going to make it in the world to come. You're going to have many people that die. Many people are going to be burned alive in a nuclear destruction. Many men are going to be zapped and destroyed by the laser beams of the chariots. Many men are going to die through famine. And second Ezra says, in wars shall their bridegrooms be destroyed. Right? The Lord said, he that escapeth the sword shall perish by hunger, paraphrasing. So everybody's not going to make it, man. Everybody ain't making it to the next world. Just like in the days of Noah. Everybody didn't make it. Right? This is Ecclesiastes 8 and 5. But here's what we have to do. Whoso keepeth the commandment shall feel no evil thing. And a wise man's heart discerneth both time and judgment. So if you're following Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua through faith and keeping the commandments, you're not going to feel the evil thing, man. You're not going to be destroyed when the 2/3 are destroyed. You're going to make it in the world to come. And if you're a wise man, you're going to discern both time and judgment. And that's the spirit that all of the brothers and you sisters should have. You should be able to discern time and judgment for yourself, knowing you being judged by the Most High, knowing you're being chastised, know what time we're living in, know what prophecies are coming to pass, know how close we are to getting out of here based off what the Most High is showing you on the earth. You should be very circumspect and extremely vigilant about what the Most High is doing on the earth. God forbid that there's a brother that's still waiting for Moses to come down on the mountain. You're still waiting for, people are literally, to this day, still waiting for Yahweh Shah to be born out of Bethlehem. Waiting for him to be born. They're completely out of tune with time and judgment, man. You should be checking these prophecies off, man. Okay, I see. Okay, those are uproars of the people. Let me check that off. Okay, the Most High said that there would be no work in Egypt. Okay, that hasn't come to pass. Okay, we're still waiting on that. Okay, the Most High said that the chariots will come. Okay, we're waiting on that. Oh, but the Most High did say, you know, there would be troubles. Okay, I see that. So you should be checking off the prophecies and discerning. Yeah, okay, that happened in England. Let me check that off. Okay, well, that hasn't happened yet in America. And I'm waiting on that one. That's how the men of the Lord should be watching. Time and judgment. Looking forward to the world to come. The new age. Why? Verse number 6. Because to every purpose, there is time and judgment. Therefore, the misery of man is great upon him. Huh? So to everything, there is time and judgment for every purpose. Right? So brothers have to measure these times. Right? We always break the world down into 3 ages. You got the elder world, which was the life of Adam and Adam's parents and Adam's grandparents. Yes, Adam had grandparents. Adam had parents, right? That life from the time that man was created until the time that Adam sinned, that's what the Bible calls the elder world. Then from the time that Adam sinned, like I brought up before, until the day that Yahweh Shah returns, that's the present evil world. And from the day that Yahweh Shah returns all the way up until eternity, that is the world to come. So when you understand time and judgment, you break the world down into 3 different worlds, right? The age of man is broken down into 3 worlds: the elder world, the present evil world, and the world to come. And you have to know time and judgment if you want to get understanding on prophecy, right? You have to know time and judgment, the judgment of the Most High and the times that he puts on the earth, right? Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 7. And some of this we touched on, but I want to focus more on the world to come. But I just want to reiterate this point about the elder world. I want to get straight to the point. This is 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse number 11. Because for their sakes I made the world, and when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. So this first world was the world before Adam, sinned. And there's not a lot of information and detail that the Most High gives you, but you do know man was set up and what the world calls a paradise. That's why the Lord planted a garden eastward in Eden. And in the days of Adam, the earth was a paradise, right? Let's get that in Genesis, the 2nd chapter. But when he went off, the Most High, he started shifting things up, man. Let's go to Genesis chapter 2 real quick. I don't plan on going too deep into this, but, right, no man hath power over the spirit to retain the spirit, right? Genesis chapter 2 and 15. And Yahweh, Ba'ashem Yahushua, took the man and put him into the Garden of Eden to dress it and to keep it. So the garden was Jerusalem, the land of Israel. Eden represents the entire earth at that time. The entire earth was Eden, right? Aidan in the Hebrew, which means paradise, right? It means paradise through the spirit and power of Yahweh Ba'ashem Yahushua. Let's jump up. Genesis chapter 2 and 8. right? And the Lord God planted a garden eastward in Eden. And there he put the man whom he had formed. The man that he had formed was Adam. He gave Adam laws and commandments and the truth. And he put Adam in the land of Israel, in Jerusalem. Doesn't say where he was at before. Doesn't matter. If it mattered, it would have been mentioned. But he put him in Jerusalem. That's the garden. But it was eastward in Eden. It was in the eastern part of the earth. Right? So back then, the world was what you call a utopia. It was created to be a utopia. Right? Let's pull up Utopia. You have a utopia and you have a dystopia. Right? Let's see. That's not the definition I want. Let's see. Okay, it reads. Here's what you want, right? Utopia has come to mean a place of ideal perfection, right? Ideal perfection. And that's how the world was created, man. The animals were in order. The elements were in order. There was no rain, right? There was no thunderstorms of rain and destruction. The weather and the climate, right, was beautiful for man. The beast did not attack man. Everything was in order. Here's Utopia. This was the elder world. A place of ideal perfection, especially in laws, government, and social conditions, right? That was that world. It was for perfection. That's why there are still traces of Eden on the earth. Like if you go to, let's see, I can't think of a particular island. I'll just use, right, Slovakia. Let's pull this up. There are certain parts on the earth that are still reminiscent of a paradise, right? Still old traces of Eden. I just put Hawaii for a certain reason, but you know, there are other places on the earth, man, where it's still a paradise, where the waters are clear, the beasts are in order, right? The grass is flourishing. There are still creatures and ancient creatures that reside. Certain parts of the earth still hold true to that ancient paradise, like the Garden of Eden. And then there are other parts of the earth, like the hoods of Chicago, Detroit, Baltimore, you know, parts in the land of Syria and Ham that are a dystopia. So you have a utopia, like the elder world, and in this present evil world, you have a dystopia. Let's pull that up. Let's pull this up through the spirit. Dystopia. And they make dystopian movies, man. Movies about destruction, post-destruction, and post-nuclear attacks and things of that nature. Dystopia. An imagined world is not an imagined, because we're living this right now, right? An imagined world or society in which people lead wretched, dehumanized, fearful lives. And that's how we live under these curses, man. They're not the Most High saying Deuteronomy 28:66, thy life shall hang in doubt before thee. That's a wretched, fearful life, man. Dehumanized, being put into human zoos and chattel slavery, being treated like oxen and cattle. That's dehumanized. We as the Israelites, we live in a modern day dystopia. And that's part of this present, that's what the Most High calls this world, an imagined world or society. He calls this world the present evil world. And we'll touch on that too. But let's go back to 2nd Ezra, right? 2nd Ezra chapter 7 and verse 11. Because for their sakes I made the world. And when Adam transgressed my statutes, then was decreed that now is done. So before Adam went off, it was a utopia. When he sinned against God, he decreed a dystopia in the earth. Then, here's what happened after Adam went off. Then were the entrances of this world made narrow, full of sorrow and travail. They're but few and evil, full of perils and very great painful. It's like very painful. That's like the definition we read of a dystopia. A wretched, dehumanized life of murder, crime, and sin. So now it's hard to obtain immortality. It's hard to obtain perfection. That's what the Lord did. Verse number 13. For the entrances of the elder world were wide and sure and brought immortal fruit. So the elder world was wide and sure. There wasn't pain. It wasn't full of sorrow. It didn't have to deal with depression. It didn't have to deal with back pain. That was the elder world, like a utopia. And it was full of immortal fruit. But again, for the seventh time, when Adam went off, he brought forth the present evil world, right? And now things are full of pain, right? Things are full of sorrow. There's suicide and sex trafficking and organ trafficking. It's like it. And organ trafficking and murder on the earth, man. And absolute just wickedness. This is Titus chapter 2 and verse number 12. Teaching us that we should deny ungodliness and worldly lust. We should live soberly, righteously, and godly in this present world. So this is the present world that you currently live in. This is the age that you live in, the present world. The Bible also calls this the present evil world. And I believe that's in the book of Galatians, right? This is Galatians. Let's get this real quick. Galatians chapter 1. I'm going to have to get it. And verse number 4. Galatians chapter 1 and 4. Who gave himself for our sins, that he might deliver us from this present evil world, according to the will of God and our Father. So again, like we broke down before in previous lessons and reinforcing it, you have the elder world, which begins from the time of the creation of man. That goes all the way up until the time that Adam sinned. That was the elder world. It was wide and sure. Then you have the present evil world, which is the time that Adam sinned, all the way up until the day that Yahweh returns. And then you have another world, which is the world to come, right? Which are the new heavens and the new earth. So like, let's go to Isaiah chapter 65, right? Let's go to Isaiah 65. And that's what we want to obtain into. The men of Yahweh Shai, we're sick of this dystopia, man. Right? You can't walk down the street without, man, we can't even start camp. By the time we start camp, or you walking with your family or you out and about, you see about 10 to 5 homosexuals, man. 6'5" dudes with beards and dresses on. One dude today at camp, man, he had a full James Harden beard and a damn what do you call that? Not a belly ring. Like a waist bead. They call it a waist bead. He had a waist bead on and a crop top, man. Nobody wants to see that, man. We hate it here. I was driving home, man. I seen the damn red and blue lights. I thought I was about to get jammed up, man. Nobody wants to worry about those things or think about these things. Sicknesses and itching and scratching and folly. We're hastening to get out of here. And if you don't have that mentality, then this truth might not be for you. If you want to prolong your day, how would you want to prolong your days in a dystopia? Why would you want to prolong your days in the evil world? The Lord called this an evil world. Let me get this definition again, dystopia. What world is this? An imagined world. And why is it imagined? They use the word imagined because the so-called white man put this definition out. Because he doesn't live in a dystopia. He lives in his kingdom. Right? He speaketh wickedly concerning oppression. So he's thinking of dystopia, some imagined thing that can never happen. No, we're going through it right now, man. That's why he said imagined. This is reality. The people live wretched, dehumanized, fearful lives. So we want to get out of this dystopia and get back to a utopia. Good times, right? Make sure this is showing. So let's go into this. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 65 and 17. Right? Isaiah chapter 65 and 17. Right? It reads, bear with me. For behold, I create new heavens and the new earth, and the former shall not be remembered, nor come into mind. And that's what the Most High is going to do. Now, when he said he creates a new heavens and a new earth, he's talking about a new rulership. He's not going to make a new earth. And there's a new Genesis happening all over again. And he just puts everybody on another planet. No. Man, the Lord created the earth for man to inhabit. You read that in the book of Psalms. It says the heavens are the Lord's, but the earth hath he given to the children of men, paraphrasing. So the new heavens and the new earth is new rulership, new power structure, a new kingdom in charge, a new government. And the former shall not be remembered nor come into mind. So things that we go through, the pain, the sorrow, and the suffering, these things aren't going to come into mind anymore because the Lord is going to put us in that a perfected state. Right? Verse number 18. But be ye glad and rejoice forever in that which I create. For behold, I create Jerusalem, a rejoicing, and her people a joy. And I will rejoice in Jerusalem, and joy in my people, and the voice of weeping shall be no more heard in her, nor the voice of crying. So you're not going to have depression, sadness, suicide, women crying because their young sons were shot by the police with their hands up. You're not going to have t-shirts with Rel on it, Tavon on it, Meech on it. You're not going to have shirts that say born in 2000, dead in 2025. You're not going to have obituaries and funerals for us in the kingdom. No more weeping. All of this is going to happen in the world to come. Right? Let's go to the book of Matthew. Right? Actually, let's get Luke. I believe that's what I want. Right? Let's go to Luke chapter 20. Right? This is Luke chapter 20. I'm going to read verse number 34. It reads, and Yahushua answering said unto them, the children of this world marry are given in marriage. So what does this mean, the children of this world marry? Does that mean you're not going to marry in the kingdom? You're not going to have wives? You're not going to have children? No, that's not what this means. A lot of people read this, well, we're not going to have wives in the kingdom. We're not going to have sex in the kingdom. We're not going to have children in the kingdom. Well, the Lord said, a little one shall become a great nation. So what this is really saying is he's speaking about the law in Deuteronomy 25, the Levirate marriage. See, the children in this world, they die. Therefore, the brother of the man that died has to raise up seed to his brother by impregnating his wife and bring his name back on the earth. That's what happens in this world. Men die, inheritances are up for grabs, right? Lands are up for grabs, and riches and wealths have to be essentially taken into account by man. You have the risk of losing your inheritance. All this happens in this world. The problematic things of land, inheritance, and your names is something that we have to deal with. So when it says the children of this world marry, he's actually talking about what's written in Deuteronomy 25. Let me actually get that for brothers that may not know. See, in the world to come, you're not going to have to worry about death. You're not going to have to worry about, okay, this man died and my brother died. I got to raise up seed to him. No, right? You're not going to die in the world to come, right? No heart attacks, no allergies, no headaches, anything, any health. Think about the last health issue that you had, minor or major. And just understand that in the world to come, you'll never have to go through that again. Now, if you love going through those things, just keep sinning and keep freaking off and being a rebel. And you'll go through that until the day that you die. Right? Now, here's what the Lord meant when he said the children of this world marry. Deuteronomy 25:5. If brethren dwell together and one of them die and have no child, the wife of the dead shall not marry without unto a stranger. Her husband's brother shall go in unto her and take her to him to wife and perform the duty of an husband's brother to him. So if I have a brother, my brother dies, however the case may be, he doesn't have any children, I have to lay down with his wife. That child that we bring forth is to receive all the inheritance of his brother. And I have to get that all unto him. That's called the duty of an husband's brother. Verse number 6. And it shall be that the firstborn which she beareth shall succeed in the name of the brother which is dead, that his name be not put out of Israel. So that's the law. This is what Yahushua is making reference to. This happens in this world. Men die, like I said, property and inheritance are at risk. You have to make a decision. Do I want to be righteous? Do I have to lay with my brother's wife to raise up seed? Do I not? All these things are problematic for man. That's what happens in this world. All right, let's read this again. Luke 20:34. And Yahushua answering said unto them, the children of this world marry and are given in marriage. But they which shall be accounted worthy to obtain that world and the resurrection from the dead, neither marry nor are given in marriage. So this world that's coming is not for everybody. It's for those that are accounted worthy, those who are sincere, those who have faith, but it's coupled with works. If you're slothful, you're not gonna be accounted worthy to obtain the world. If you don't read, if you don't study, if you don't pray, if you don't fast, you don't put your hand to the plow, if you don't have any diligence, you're not going to be accounted worthy to obtain that world. So the new world, the Lord is hand picking select spirits, and he's observing those spirits day by day to see who's worthy, who's not worthy. And he's going to separate the wheat from the tares. So if you're accounted worthy to obtain that world, you're not going to worry about giving yourself unto marriage or your brother dying or none of that. Why? It says, neither can they die anymore, for they are equal unto the angels and are the children of the Most High, being children of the resurrection. So in the world to come, you're not going to have to worry about dying anymore. You're not going to die in the kingdom, right? I mean, this is plain. You're not going to die. You're not going to have to worry about catching a heart attack. You know, you slipped down, fell down the stairs, you broke your neck. People had to bury you and put you in the dirt again. No. You're going to be equal unto the angels, right? In terms of immortality. The angels don't die. They don't have angelic funerals. And an angel doesn't have to pass his heavenly inheritance down to his son angel. Then you got wife angel, and you got little old Judah angel, and officer angel, officer Benjamin angel. No. The angels are immortal, right? So that world is that world to come that he's speaking of. And one of the things that you're going to have to go through or deal with is immortality, man. And that's beautiful, man. Right? You got men, that die at the age of 25, age of 20. You got young Israelite babies that die in the womb, right? They wicked mothers leave them in a hot car or all types of wickedness, man. Right? This Matthew chapter 12 and verse number 31. So we're breaking down different things that's going to happen in that new world, right? Matthew 12 and 31. Wherefore I say unto you, all manner of sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven unto men, but the blasphemy against the Holy Spirit shall not be forgiven unto men. Right? So all manner of sin, if you was a homosexual, you ate pork, you broke the Sabbath, blasphemy, you went against the scriptures, you said, I hate that word, and some people roll up the Bible page after they rip it out, break some weed down in it, and smoke it. That's blasphemy and wickedness. All manner of sin and blasphemy shall be forgiven unto men if you repent to Yahweh in the name of his son Yahushua. But the blasphemy against the Holy Ghost shall not be forgiven unto men. Right? So when you speak against the miracles, the Holy Spirit, you rebel and you go back in the world and count the blood of Yahushua, an unholy thing, and speak against the Holy Spirit, right? Guess what? You won't get forgiveness to that or for that. And whosoever speaketh a word against the Son of Man, it shall be forgiven him. Right? You say, I don't like the Lord. His stature. I don't like them red eyes, and I don't really think he meant that. And guess what? You'll be forgiven for that if you repent. But whosoever speaketh against the Holy Spirit, it shall not be forgiven him, neither in this world, neither in the world to come. So if you speak against the Holy Spirit, like they said, Yahushua performed miracles by using demonic power and by Beelzebub. That's going off, man. You're speaking against the truth, the Holy Spirit. You go back in the world. You can't repent from that. Men that go back in the world and disannul the blood of Yahushua and count it an unholy thing despite the spirit of grace, they cannot receive forgiveness for that in this world, neither in the world to come. So breaking down what it means, neither in the world to come, this does not mean that there's an eternal. I don't know how people read this verse and all of a sudden they have created a concept of an eternal fire under the earth. Nowhere in this verse does it say you go to a place called hell. It doesn't say that. You can't assert that in there. When it says neither in the world to come, it means men that blaspheme the Holy Spirit, when they make it, it shows that they're going to be in the kingdom because they're not going to receive forgiveness for that. So they're going to be in the lowest state in the world to come. They're not going to be part of that 144,000. They're not going to be part of the 12 apostles, right? They're just going to be a regular old Israelite, man. They're not going to be part of the government. See, in the world to come, there's going to be a rank and file. You're going to have men that are the greatest in the kingdom. You're going to have men that are least in the kingdom. The men that are least in the kingdom, these are some of these men, man. And they can't say, Lord, they can't be in the kingdom as born as a child, grow up and say, look, I didn't mean to do that. That was my previous life. Lord, make me one of the 144,000. Please, no. It's over with. You just a regular old Israelite. Now you're in the kingdom, but you're just going to be a regular old Israelite. You're not going to be traveling to the land of Moab and putting them in order and having this many slaves and doing this and calling the shots. You're just going to kind of just be there. And you're not going to remember, you're not going to glory, not going to have as much glory because you're not going to remember what happened. Whereas the elect men, they're going to remember getting beamed up in the chariots. They're going to see the destruction of their enemies. They're going to talk about America being destroyed and what that felt like and what experience that was forever. And you'll never be able to get into that conversation. You'll always kind of, and that's a horrible feeling, man. That's like you get a new job, or growing up, you go to a new school and they're talking about what happened here, and you can never give input. You're always the odd man out. Here you got this job, man. You just started, and they're talking about the old, CEO who got fired and embarrassed himself 5 months ago in the break room. And you don't have nothing to say, man. You kind of got your head down. You have no understanding of that event. So men that don't get forgiveness in the world to come, they won't have any understanding, nor will they have any knowledge, really experience that the 144,000 are going to have. They're not going to, these 144,000, they're going to talk about how they enslaved the elites. They broke the underground bunkers down. They put chains on them. But these guys that blaspheme the Holy Spirit, they ain't going to have nothing to say. They're going to sit, they're not going to be able to sit at certain tables where Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And these guys, man, they're just going to be there, man. You're not going to be ruling over 10 cities, 5 cities. So you got to really think about this thing in the world to come. Everybody's not going to be the same, man. Right? Let's go to Hebrews. The Lord said, all shall know me from the least to the greatest. Right? From the least to the greatest. So you're going to have men that are least. Hebrews chapter 8 and 11. And they should not teach every man his neighbor and every man his brother, saying, know the Lord, for all shall know me from the least to the greatest. For I will be merciful to their unrighteousness, and their sins and their iniquities will I remember no more. Right? And that's everybody except those that blaspheme the Holy Spirit. So those men that are going to be least and don't get that forgiven, that's a horrible thing, man. So that's another thing in the world to come, right? That you're going to have rank and order. Men that blaspheme the Holy Spirit. You're going to have men that are at 144,000. You're going to have men that are the men of the Lord are going to be immortal. You're going to have spiritual power, right? All these things are going to happen for those who are accounted to make it in that next life, man. Right? Let's go to the book of Second Ezra, chapter 8. Right? Let's go to Second Ezra, the 8th chapter. So it'd be a horrible thing for you to die here in America in your vanity, man. Second Ezra, chapter 8, and verse number 2. It reads, actually, I want verse 42. I want Second Ezra, the 7th chapter, and I want 42, right? Second Ezra 7 and 42. He answered me and said, this present life is not the end where much glory doth abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak. So if you're looking to have much glory in this life, it's vain. This isn't the end all be all. The people that are famous in this world, they're not really famous, man. Nobody's ever going to be as famous as Yahweh Shai. Nobody's ever going to be as famous as the elect. Those 144,000, that 1/3 that make it in the world to come, that's true glory. That's true fame, true recognition. This present life, this ain't it, man. That weak mansion, that fake money, man, paper money, that's not much glory. That car, would you rather have a car or a chariot? Would you rather have slaves or not, man? None of these guys got slaves. Name your top celebrity. Tell me how many slaves he has. Talking about hard. I'm not talking about a guy, they got their own personal chef, or a guy that cut their grass. I'm talking about actual slaves in the field. They don't have that. They don't have lands and cities that they own. The Lord said certain men are going to rule 10 cities. Floyd don't have 10 cities, man. These guys don't have gold. So how could this present life be the end all be all? It's not. That's what the Lord said. This present life is not the end. Where much glory doth abide. Therefore have they prayed for the weak. So again, we're looking for to be like the angels, right? We're looking to be in a high position in the kingdom. You should be striving for the mastery. No brother should be striving to be the least in the kingdom, right? That's like them what they call those guys that do the bare minimum. Man, there's a term for it, right? But you got certain guys that just do the bare minimum to graduate, man. If I could just maintain a 2.0, I can make it, right? If I could just, just read one chapter a day, maybe the Most High will have mercy on. You can't do the bare minimum, man, and think that you're going to be up there in the kingdom. See, this is the time where you have to make your calling and election sure. This is what we call tryout season through the Spirit. Now, again, Yahweh, Bashmel Shai, already has those elect set up, but you don't know who you are. Your name can get blotted out. This is tryout season. And everybody's trying to, for lack of better terms, impress the coach, man. And prove to him that you deserve to make it. And you got certain people that try out for teams, but they're on the bench. Yeah, they're on the team, but nobody really knows this guy. He's the 4th string punter. Who really talks about the guy that gets the that puts the football down on the field goal? What is that guy even called? What is he called? The holder? And nobody's talking about that guy. That guy doesn't get movie deals, man. He's not on commercials, right? He has no glory. He just catches the ball and he got to kind of put that thing down. I remember playing football back in the day. You had the scout team. Nobody's really talking about the scout team. Stop doing the bare minimum, trying to make the scout team. Try to be a starter, man. You got guys that start. They get intros, they announce their name, and those guys are famous. You're looking to be a starter in the kingdom. Not a guy that just, you got one Hamite slave and one oxen with a few blemishes in it. And don't have the attitude, well, at least I'm in the kingdom. Well, it ain't the attitude to have. That's not a champion attitude. Right? You want to strive for the mastery. You want to strive for the mastery. Right? We're speaking about the world to come, huh? Right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh Hashem Yahushua. Right? Let's go back to 2nd Ezra 8. Right? 2nd Ezra chapter 8 and verse number 3. It reads, there be many created, but few shall be saved. So the few are billions of people that are going to be saved, right? Or the Israelites, right? That 1/3, maybe millions. But the many that's created, that's what they say is 8 billion people on the earth. Let's see how many people are in the world. They're saying 8 billion. Now we really don't know, but let's say it's 8 billion people that are created. Only few are going to be saved. Now, we don't know what that number is going to be. Maybe it's 1 million Israelites. Maybe it's 500,000. Who knows? Maybe it's 2 million. We don't know. But we do know in the book of Isaiah, it says, therefore, the inhabitants of the earth are burned and few men left. So the Lord is going to greatly reduce the human population to what he deems is acceptable. In the book of Isaiah, the 10th chapter, it says that there's going to be so few men that a child is going to be able to write the number of those men. So we know in the world to come, you're not going to have all these Moabites, all these Elamites. You're going to have them, but it's going to be a remnant of them that have survived the destruction. So in the world to come, you're going to have the nations there. They're going to be there, but the question is, what in the hell are they going to be doing there in that new world? They're going to be your slaves. We would never teach that the Edomite ain't going to be there. He's going to be there. These Moabites, they're going to be there. Now, I will qualify. If you live in America, you're not going to be there because everybody in America is going to be destroyed. That's Revelation chapter 11, 12 on down. The 10th part of the city fell, and then the earthquake was slain of men, 7,000. Everybody's going to die in America, a complete destruction. But you Moabites that live in Mongolia, we're going to get you. Some of you Moabites that's not destroyed in World War III, we're going to find you, man. You can't hide. You live in Vietnam, we're going to know all them damn traps at. We're not American soldiers who get all jammed up by Vietnamese traps and tunnels, man. We're going to find you in them damn holes underground, them networks of tunnels. We're going to reach our hand in the ground and pull you out, man, like a damn carrot in a potato. You're going to be under, we're going to pull you out like that, man. See, the Most High is going to give us spiritual power in the world to come, man. Right? Did not Yahweh Shah? Let's get this, man. Let's talk a little bit more about what is this, man? See, let's pull this back up. See, not a blue letter bugging. Satan. Let's go to John, the 4th chapter. Right? Blue letter, man. Satan cometh immediately. Right? This is John chapter 14 and 12. Here's what Yahweh Shah said. Verily, verily, I say unto you, he that believeth on me, the works that I do shall he do also. And greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. Now that's heavy right there. What are some of the works that Yahweh Shah did? Because all of the things that Yahweh Shah did, the Lord said, shall he do also. Yahweh Shah turned water to wine. Yahushua could manipulate the elements. He controlled the sea and the waves. When he was walking on water in the middle of the night. You're going to have spiritual power. I don't know, not me. I'm only 5'3" and I'm just from the Bronx. And who the hell am I, brother? If you make it and you're counted worthy in the world to come, you're going to have these things. How was I healed the blind? And it tells you that there are things that's not documented that Yahushua did. And the Lord also said you're going to do greater works. So your mind can't really comprehend that. Well, how can we do greater works than Yahushua? Well, what did he say? And greater works than these shall he do, because I go unto my Father. So read the Gospels. Read the book of Matthew. Read the book of Mark. Read the book of Luke. Read the book of John. See all of the works that Yahushua did. He said the elect and the world to come, they're going to do greater works. So we're not going to have a hard time getting you nations, man. Yahushua knew their thoughts. He said, why do you think these things in your hearts? You're going to have mind control in the kingdom. You're going to be able to look at that Edomite and read his mind. See, reading minds, that's the highest level of discernment. Your discernment is going to be through the roof. Now you can say, well, I don't believe that. That's far-fetched. That's from comic books. Well, brother, they get that from the Bible. What did the Lord say about David? Right? You're going to be able to read that Edomite mind. Let's prove that. Right? What is he thinking about? Is he thinking about, overthrowing me? And they're going to know that you have that power. They're going to know that you have that power. This is 2 Samuel chapter 14 and 20. Let's prove that. To fetch about the 2 Samuel 14 and 20. It's lucky. Here's what the wise woman said. Now, she wasn't a nobody. She was a wise woman. She said, to fetch about this form of speech, hath thy servant Joab done this thing. And my Lord is wise, according to the wisdom of an angel of God, to know all things that are in the earth. So when we read in Matthew, the 22nd chapter, or Luke, the 20th chapter, rather, the Lord said, we're going to be equal to the angels. So the angels are immortal, but another thing about the angels is they know all things that are in the earth. The angels, they know your thoughts, and they report that to the Most High. We're going to know that we're going to be like the angels, man. Where the Lord said, the eyes of the Lord are in every place, beholding the evil and the good. We're going to be like terrestrial angels on the earth, right? The messengers on the earth. You're going to have celestial angels and you're going to have terrestrial angels. And we're going to be terrestrial angels because we're going to know all things in the earth, man. All of those questions that the Lord asked Ezra, how much does fire weigh? Tell me if the day that was past, where are the springs of the deep? We're going to know all of that, man. We're going to know how much fire weighs. We're going to have infinite intelligence. You brothers that can't spell, or you brothers that can't read, man. You got brothers there, they can't write, which is sad. Some brothers can't literally, man. They can't read or write, man. You're trying to figure out what this means and what that means. You're going to know all of that, man. Right, let me get that in 2nd Ezra. Right, with them questions that Ezra put, that was confounding him, man, to put him in his place. Right, now this is 2nd Ezra, chapter 4 and verse number 5. It reads, and I said, I'm going to actually start at 4. Wherefore, if thou, this is what the angel Uriel told him, for if thou canst declare me one, I will show thee also the way which thou desirest to see, and I shall show thee from whence the wicked heart cometh. So he told Ezra, If you could break these three things down, I'm going to show you where that wicked heart comes from. The wicked heart is the spirit that's inside of us that makes us sin. We don't know where it came from. You can't sit in the x-ray. Nobody knows, right? Nobody knows. But the angel and the Most High and certain spirits, they know. Verse number 5. And I said, tell on, my Lord. Then said he unto me, go thy way, weigh me the weight of the fire, or measure me the blast of the wind, or call me again the day that is past. So you're going to be able to call again the day that is past. You're going to have perfect memory. You're going to have photographic memory, right? You're going to be able to see something and memorize it. You're going to be able to recall every detail that was past. What happened 2,000 years ago? You're going to live forever. So when somebody asks you what happened 1,000 years ago, you're going to say, well, I remember that like it was yesterday, man. And you're going to recall what you ate, what you drank. You're going to have children that you're going to have to know all of their names, man. You're going to have an entire nation of children. You're going to know their names, when they were born, you know. You're going to know all of these things. That's in the world to come. And you're not going to have to take an IQ test. Verse 6, then answered I and said, what man is able to do that thou shouldest ask such things of me? So in this life, in this world, no man is able to know these things. But in the world to come, you're going to know these things. Verse 7, and he said unto me, if I should ask thee, how great dwellings are in the midst of the sea, or how many springs are in the beginning of the deep, or how many springs are above the firmament, or which are the outgoings of paradise? These are other things that the men of the Lord are going to know about. The dwellings in the midst of the sea. That's what's at the bottom of the ocean. Man has never been to the bottom of the ocean. You're going to know all of these creatures that the so-called white man says he newly discovered. You're going to know all of these creatures. Adam knew these creatures. He named these creatures. All of these things, these insects, these fishes with light bulbs and wild beasts, man, you're going to know these things. You're going to know about the springs above the firmament, man. The waterfalls and the geysers that are above the atmosphere. And you're going to know the outgoings of paradise, where the different portals are that lead to the third heaven. You're going to be able to understand where the principalities are and see these spirits. You're going to actually be able to discern and see these spirits. See, I wish I could see those demons on people, man. He didn't have to guess. He saw Satan that desired Peter. And you're going to be able to see these different things, man. That's what we read in 2 Samuel, that you're going to have the understanding of an angel in the world to come, right? Now, let me get this in 1 Corinthians chapter 6. Let me see if the blue letters back up. All right, you see that? All right, see that? Let's go back to this. Let's go back to 1 Corinthians. I want 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and 1. And these things, you should be excited to hear these things, man. Right? All these promises, all these beautiful things the Lord has in store for us, and brothers still want to be slothful, right? This is the book of 1 Corinthians chapter 6 and 1. Do ye not know that the saints shall judge the world? And that the world shall be judged by you? Are ye unworthy to judge the smallest matters? How are we going to judge the world if we don't know anything? In order for us to be judging the earth, our understanding and discernment has to be at the peak. We're going to have to be able to read their minds. We're going to have to settle matters between these nations. You don't think these nations are going to be beefing, man? The Ammonites and with the Moabites? They're going to have to bring tribute. If we want 1,000 cattle and they bring 999, hey, we're going to ask them, where's the cattle at? And if they lie, we're going to know about it, man. And you can already tell when certain people can already tell when somebody's lying. They might, rub their nose, or, they can't make eye contact with you, or every time they lie, they get these tells, they They scratch their wrist. They look their head down. Certain men already study these behaviors. We're not going to have to go to class to learn those things. It's going to be in us, and we're going to judge all matters to perfection. We're not going to need Urim and Thummim. See, the high priest, he needed Urim and Thummim. Urim and Thummim is Awarium, which are lights or lights, and Thummim, which is perfection. So the high priest had these stones that Yahweh Bashmel Shai would influence, and he would talk to him, and these stones put a spirit on the priest, and he would be able to know all things. We're not gonna need stones. It's just gonna be in us. We're gonna have the Urim and the Thummim in us, in our spirits, right? So we're gonna judge the smallest matters. Verse number 3. Know ye not that we shall judge angels? How much more things that pertain to this life? So we're going to know all these spirits, man. We're going to know where the demons are. Hey, Elisha, he essentially summoned demons. He put a curse out on those children. And it really wasn't the bears that did it. A lot of people, the bears did it. No, it was really, if you know what I'm talking about, read 2 Kings, the 2nd chapter. It was really demons that hopped on those bears. Because there are spirits created for vengeance. And it speaks of teeth of wild beasts, scorpions, and a sword, punishing the wicked to destruction. So what Elijah did is he essentially summoned spirits. But those spirits worked on the minds of those bears that caused them to kill those children. And that's like judging angels, controlling spirits. Yahweh Shai, he was able to summon, he didn't do it, but he told them he could have summoned 12 legions of angels. Right? Let me get that. And you're going to be able to do that in the world to come, man. Let's get this in Matthew. That's the 26th chapter. Right? And brothers have never done that, man. You summon spirits and putting spirits on animals, right? You put a spirit on a lion, and he goes attack the Edomites, man, because he didn't bring his offering. You're going to be able to do that. You're going to be able to call upon Yahweh Bashmi Shai, and the demon's going to come down and hop on your lion to the right of you. You're going to say, lion, travel 10,000 miles, and you're going to attack that Moabite, man. I just know that he's going off. And that Moabite man is going to be 1,000 miles away, talking his shit. Then there's a lion that comes at him, man, and just destroys him. Then that lion's going to report back to you, man. Then that spirit that's on that lion is going to go back in the spirit world, and you're going to thank Yahweh Bashmi Yahushua. And that lion's going to return back to his lion-like nature. You know? You think them 2 she-bears, man, was murdering children forever? No. After they did their job, those demons left those bears, and those bears went back to being bears, man. There's no account of those bears being serial killers. Then they hid, they killed 42 children here, then they ran off, and it was hiding. And the Lord said, "Oh, bears, where are you?" And the bears, rawr. They killed 35 more. No, after they did their job, it was over with, right? And they went back to being bears. Now, this Matthew chapter 26 and verse number 52. Right? This when Yahweh Shah was being arrested. Matthew 26 and 52. Then said Yahweh Shah unto him, put up again thy sword into its place, for all they that take the sword shall perish with the sword. Thinkest thou that I cannot now pray to my Father, and he shall presently, meaning right at this moment, give me more than 12 legions of angels? So Yahweh Shah could summon spirits. I believe a legion, let's see how much is in a Roman legion. Is that 5,000? How many? 6,000? How many soldiers are in a Roman Slovakia? Roman legion? 4,000 to 6,000. All right. So if you add 12 legions of angels, that's 84,000 angels. Right? So 72,000. right? 72,000 angels. And you're going to be able to do that, man. 72,000 angels. You're going to be able to judge angels and deal with these spirits, man, on the right-hand side, right? So brothers have to consider these things. These are things that brothers are going to have to go through, Lord willing, in the upcoming world and the world to come, right? And these other nations, they're going to fear you, man. They're going to fear you. A lot of brothers, well, what if the nations, what if they look at us and they conspire against us? And, what if the other nations, they try to take down my children? Or they're not going to do a damn thing. Let's make that clear, right? Let's go to Deuteronomy chapter 28. Here's what the Lord said. Here's one of the blessings. This is Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse number 10. And all these are the blessings. We talk about the curses all the time. Here's one of the blessings. And all the people, it's like, and all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of Yahweh, and they shall be afraid of thee. So when you're walking around in the world to come, you know how you move, and it might be a squirrel, he move out the way, or it's pigeons on the sidewalk, they hurt him and get out the way, whatever. These beasts, they have been created to be subservient and fearful of man. Man is the chief way in the land of the living, the chief creation. And the Israelite is the chiefest of man on the earth. And then it goes down by tribe, right? But all of the elect, when these Edomites see you, it's going to be like when them squirrels see a car coming, or you throw stones at a pigeon, and they're gonna get out the way. And I just found out, I saw on social media back in the day, there was a thing called reckless eyeballing. Now, we knew about eyeballing them Edomites. They say, why are you eyeballing me, boy? Whatever. You can get lynched for that. See, we was taught to be afraid of the so-called white man. So when he was walking the earth and you moved across the street, you didn't look him in his eyes, you kind of, whatever. But that's going to be reversed in the kingdom. Ain't going to be no more reckless eyeballing. Let's pull that up. Right? Let's see. Look at this. Reckless eyeballing. This evocative title, taken from a Jim Crow era law prohibiting a black man from so much as gazing at a white woman, right? A term, here's another definition, a term which refers to the act of looking around instead of keeping your eyes on the ground. Eyeballing is against, I hate these damn devils, man. It's against the rules and can lead to an untrained victim to choose up by mistake, man. Right? You see that, man? So this so-called white man, he has something called reckless eyeballing. You kind of looking around and you call eye contact with him, and he could run up and lynch you, man. Right? And guess what? Guess what's going to happen in the kingdom? These devils, there ain't going to be no reckless eyeballing. They better control their damn eyes. We're going to have reckless eyeballing times 1,000. Bet not look at us, man. Put your head down. Now you can say, well, that's mean. I don't know about that. That's not, that's not biblical. The Lord said they're going to be afraid of you. Hey, when somebody's afraid of a king, they don't even look at the king. Read the book of Esther. You couldn't even approach him to the king. She fainted. When you read editions of Esther, man. When she walked before the king, and she's an Israelite that feared the Lord, and she fainted. So some of these nations, when they see you, if you one of them top Israelites, man, and he heard that you in town, man, look, they're gonna get out the way. Think about at your plantation. When they say the CEO, he's visiting, or the president of the company, he's in town, everybody's in order, man. They clean up a little bit, man. They cut the grass, they wipe the windows down. Well, he's coming. He'll be in town from Wednesday to Friday, Monday to Thursday. Your manager, he normally wear a t-shirt and jeans. He got a suit and tie on. So people do that now, man. Let me read this again one more time. Deuteronomy 28:10. And all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of Yahweh, Bashmi Abishai, and they shall be afraid of thee. Remember in the book of Joshua, let's go to Joshua. When we came out of Egypt, after the Most High destroyed them Hamites, what did Rahab the harlot say? What did she say about us? This is the book of Joshua, chapter 2 and verse number 10. Let's start at 9. Here's what she told the two spies, right? Joshua 2 and 9. So in the world to come, the Most High is going to put a particular spirit on those nations that when they see you, they're going to start trembling. Deuteronomy, Joshua 2 and 9. And she said unto the men, I know that the Lord hath given you the land, and that your terror is fallen upon us, and that all the inhabitants of the land faint because of you. That's literal. They were fainting. They were doing their work, right? They was dealing with their cattle. People heard the word Yasha Allah, and he passed out. They threw water on their face. They said, what happened? He said, I heard that name, that dreadful name. Yasha Allah, the name of Yahweh. And they were passing out, man. Verse number 10. But we have heard how the Lord dried up the water of the Red Sea for you when you came out of Egypt, and what you did unto the two kings of the Amorites that were on the other side Jordan, Sihon and Og, whom ye utterly destroyed. And as soon as we heard these things, our hearts did melt. Neither did there remain any more courage in any man because of you. For the Lord your God, he is God in heaven above and in earth beneath, man. That's some cold scripture right here, man. She said our hearts melted. Everybody knew about the Most High and what he did to them Egyptians. They're going to know who destroyed America. They're going to know who cut down this world economy. And all people are going to know that Yahweh Bashmi did that. And that we're his people. So that same spirit in the first Exodus is going to be the same spirit in the second Exodus. So in the world to come, these nations, they're going to fear you, man. Right? And you don't have to worry about being attacked or worried about being destroyed or worried about being robbed. They're all going to submit themselves unto you. Right? Let's go to the book of Ezekiel, chapter 39. Right? Let's go to Ezekiel, chapter 39. The blue letter's still not working. That's all right. Right? Let's go to Ezekiel, chapter 39 and verse number 23. Right? And you should hate it here in this life, man. Like Solomon said, he said, therefore I hated life, because the works that are done under the sun are grievous unto me, paraphrasing. You should hate your job, man. Hate this fake money. You should hate this world, man. It stinks. And the world stinks, man. It literally stinks. The air is bad. I've never had allergies, man. Now all of a sudden my damn eye is itching. I've never had it before. Now, a few years ago, now my damn, doing this and your eyes watering, your throat itching. They polluting the air so much. People that never had this stuff, they're getting this stuff, man. They're adding more things to the food. They're making meat in laboratories, injecting it with madness. You should hate it here, man. And all praise to Yahweh Shemel. We don't know all of the wickedness that they do, because if we did, Jacob want to leave this earth. Jacob destroy themselves, man. If the Most High really revealed to you all of the wickedness that was going on, Jake, you wouldn't be able to handle that, man. Your spirit wouldn't be able to deal with all of that information, and you'll bug out. You will bug out. This is Ezekiel 39 and verse number 23. So this links up with Joshua, right? That all of the heathen are going to know. It reads, and the heathen shall know that the house of Israel went into captivity for their iniquity, because they trespassed against me, Therefore hid I my face from them, and gave them into the hand of their enemies, so they fell by the sword. It's like it, so they all fell by the sword. So all the heathen going to know. Ain't gonna be no more playing stupid. Who are we? Everybody gonna know that we the Israelites, man, in the world to come. You're gonna have that glow. Remember when Moses came down from the mount, he had a glow about him, right? And they had to put a veil over his face. And you can see that shine in certain people. That's what the Lord said, let your light so shine before men. You can tell when a brother's on fire. The Lord said, wisdom maketh the man's face to shine, right? In Ecclesiastes. So we're going to radiate. You're going to see and feel that spirit. Them heathen going to see that on us, man. You're going to know. All right, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Let's go to the book of Tobit, right? Chapter 13. Let's go to Tobit, chapter 13. So we're speaking about what's going to happen in the world to come, right? Tobit, chapter 13. Like I said, you name the worst thing that happened to you today, it's not going to happen in the world to come, right? The worst thing that happened to you this week, it ain't going to happen, man. And you have to meditate on these things, man, right? And meditate on these promises, because that's what's going to keep you going, right? And keep the spirit rolling, the great expectation, okay? Tobit chapter 13 and verse number 15. Tobit 13 and 15. Let my soul bless the Most High, the great King, for Jerusalem shall be built up with sapphires and emeralds and precious stone, thy walls and towers and battlements with pure gold. And the streets of Jerusalem shall be paved with beryl and carbuncle and stones of Ophir. And these heathen in the world to come, you can't even imagine what Jerusalem is going to look like. It's going to be something. See, people, they've watched what's that movie, The Black Panther, and they saw the chariots, and they saw, I can't remember, they had this mineral that they tried to get, and this technology, but that's nothing. That's dung compared to what's going to be in the kingdom. Let's pull up sapphires. Look at this. Jake, you don't see sapphires. Look at this. This is a $222,000 sapphire. The Lord said, imagine a city built up in sapphire. That's going to be beautiful. Wow. Now, who's going to, first of all, let's get the elephant out the room. Who's going to build it up? The so-called white man and the so-called Chinese man. Are we going to clap our hands and these stones appear magically? No. Where do you find these stones? In the earth. Which means what? They're going to have to dig these stones up. We're going to give them a shovel, a pickaxe, and a hammer, and they're going to be working and digging up these stones. Let's go to Job real quick, chapter 28. I'm going to have to open up another 16:11, right? Let's go to Job chapter 28. So the Lord said in Tobit, Jerusalem is going to be built up with sapphire. Let's go to Job chapter 28, right? This is Job chapter 28 and verse number 1. Surely there is a vein for the silver and a place for gold where they find it. So you take the elements out of the earth. There is a place where you find silver. You got to dig, man. You got to dig for gold. Iron is taken out of the earth, and brass is molten out of the stone. So the Lord speaks about the dangers of mining for elements. Rubies, jewels, gold, silver, it's taken out of the earth. So all of this in Tobit, where it says in Tobit chapter 13 and 16, for Jerusalem shall be built up with sapphires and emeralds and precious stone. You're going to have to get that out the earth, man. All right, let's pull up an emerald. Now, you and Jake, you're not going to have that attitude, I want to help. You're not going to want to help in the kingdom. The Most High is going to take that demon, that damn demon away from you, man. I just want to help them out. They look like they're having a hard time out there. I just want to, put my brick in. That's a demon. You wanting to help the heathen is a demon. You're not going to have access to that demon. Right? So this is emerald right here, man. Right? You see that? And you can't imagine what that kingdom is going to look like, what Jerusalem is going to look like. Walls of sapphire and walls of emerald. Right? What else? It says, thy walls and towers and battlements. The battlements is the supporting structure that goes over your house with pure gold. And the streets of Jerusalem shall be paved with beryl and carbuncle and stones of Ophir. So let's pull up beryl. This is what the streets are going to be made of. Right? Beryl stone. Right? So all of the streets are going to be pure beryl. And there's going to be different types of beryl in the world to come. It's no asphalt. Asphalt, people look at the so-called, that's cheap, junk, dirty, polluted, just low-grade minerals, man. And those minerals put a spirit on you. Asphalt puts a spirit on you. And concrete, man. Concrete it puts a spirit on your back, makes your back hurt, your knees hurt. You feel depressed in these cities, man. It's always dark. It absorbs all of the light. It's hot. It's demonic. So it breaks down easily. You drive in your car. It's a pothole. Your back hurt because you went over a damn pothole. You got to swerve, and they got these manholes, and you hit the pothole, and your tires jammed up. You bent your tire. Your wheel, got to get your wheels fixed. It melts. It's melting while you're driving. You get stuck in it. It take all day to fix. The people don't know what they're doing. I hate these roads and this concrete, man. It's a wicked, low-level, demonic element, man. Let's pull this up. Pull this up. A mixture of crushed asphalt is a mixture of crushed stone, gravel, sand. Now, that's weak, low-level, cheap stuff, man. People say, look at these nice roads. People say that. Wow, look at these streets. Nope. That's how far we've been destroyed. When you travel to a city outside the hood, you say, look at these nice streets. Those streets ain't nice, man. You never seen nothing, streets paved in gold, carbuncle, and Ophir. No nice streets. Nice streets is carbuncle. Right? Let's pull up carbuncle. Right? Carbuncle. Carbuncle stone. Look at this. Right? And the Most High, he's going to reveal them to us in a world to come. We're going to know where these stones are. And we're going to know the secret behind a lot of these elements, man. Because there are certain elements that have particular spirits attached to them. Like you have radioactive elements. You have cancerous elements. Right? There are certain elements that can harm you, that can heal you. In the world to come, we're going to know all of that, man. What the carbuncle is for, what the emerald is for, what that herb is for. There are certain stones they use to heal your back. They take certain stones, they heat it up, they put on your back. It relaxes your muscles. Certain stones, they do this. Now, we don't know that now. Don't try to tap into that now. See, Jake, you try to tap into that, you bug out. You're going to know all of that in the kingdom. You're going to know all of the knowledge of the herbs in the kingdom. You're going to be able to look at that leaf and know what that's for. To look at that flower and know what that's for. You're not going to need an app or a big encyclopedia. You are the encyclopedia. So all of these stones and things, Yahweh Shemel Shai is going to reveal that to us in the world to come. Right? Let's go to the book of, actually, let's read the next verse. It reads, "And all her streets shall say hallelujah, and they shall praise him, saying, Blessed be God, which hath extolled it forever." So you have to imagine what the kingdom of heaven is going to look like. And even if you look it up, the so-called white man, he doesn't do it justice. Right? It's lucky. He doesn't do it justice. Let's see. Look at this. See, this is what he tries to put together. That's you're not going to have this isn't it. First of all, it's not going to be in the sky. In the world to come, our kingdom is going to be on the earth. You're not going to have this looks like something you see every day with them old Gothic churches. There's nothing beautiful about that. So the so-called white man, he doesn't know what beauty is and what glory is. Look at his cities, man. Look at his cities that he builds. That shows you what he's about. Right? Let's type in Bible. Look at this. They got all this madness, man. Look at this. The Lord isn't dealing with this, man. Right? This is not what the kingdom of heaven and the world to come is going to look like. Right? Let's go to the book of Isaiah. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 40. Actually, let's go to Jeremiah. That's what I want. Let's go to Jeremiah chapter 31. So these things, brothers have to look forward to these things. This is why it's important to go through the suffering. It's important to go through the affliction because there's a reward for that. But if you give up now, you'll never be able to see these things that we're going over. You'll never be able to experience these things and get that spiritual body and have that information and know all of these secrets, man. Right? This is Jeremiah chapter 31 and verse number, I'm going to start at 12. Therefore, they shall come and sing in the height of Zion and shall flow together for the goodness of the Lord, for wheat and for wine and for oil and for the young of the flock and of the herd. And their soul shall be as a watered garden, and they shall not sorrow anymore. Yeah, the Lord's going to fill our soul with the truth and put the laws in our inward parts. And we're going to know every precept, every law, every prophecy, everything. We're not going to have to walk around with a concordance or a blue letter or use apps. We're going to have it all. Then shall the virgin rejoice and the dance, both young men and old together. For I will turn their mourning into joy and will comfort them and make them rejoice from their sorrow. So no more depression, man. It's going to be feast days all day, every day. Right? Like in Job, it says every man held a feast in their house every day. Right? And that's the spirit that brothers are going to have, man. It's not just going to be, we're now in this captivity. You look forward to calling out because it's the new moon or, it's the Feast of Tabernacles. Every day is going to be a day of joy. How could you not want that? Why would you want to be slothful, lukewarm, and entertaining sin, still smoking, freaking off, and not want to experience what the Lord has to offer, man? The world to come, full of joy and mirth and gladness, man. Let's go to Zechariah 8. Right? Let's go to Zechariah 8 chapter. Zechariah chapter 8, and let's read verse number 3. Right? You brothers really want to die on this side, man, over breaking the Sabbath, over a woman. You done disannul all these promises that were going over for a woman, for paper money, for the bottle, for some liquor. How corrupt and foolish is that, man? All these promises you don't want for a woman, man, for these secret lewd sites that you get on, is you don't want to keep the Sabbath, right? It's like you don't want to be zealous. That's your problem, man. If you want to sacrifice all this for a morsel of meat. This is the book of Zechariah, chapter 8 and verse number 3. Thus saith the Lord, I am returned unto Zion and will dwell in the midst of Jerusalem. And Jerusalem shall be called a city of truth, and the mountain of the Lord of hosts, the holy mountain. So in the world to come, you're always going to be on fire. You're just going to feel on fire because the Lord is going to be in the midst of us, man. And you're never going to be tired. You're never going to have backaches. You're never going to have allergies or migraine. It's like a migraine. Like I said, you think of it that's negatively affected you in life, and you'll never have to go through that, man. Like I said, the angels will be around you. There's going to be chariots to and fro, man. Read Isaiah the 4th chapter. It says upon every habitation, it's going to be a chariot. And your forefathers are going to be there. Abraham might throw a feast day, man. Throw a feast. Just off the whim. And he might invite you in his mansion. And he pour everybody some wine, and everybody lift a cup up and do a toast. And he begins to speak and tell stories, man. And everybody sits down. We got this huge backyard. This his own island. And everybody gets to his island. Everybody, they dress up, get your family together, man. Right? Sun go down, brothers pulling up in their chariots, man. Park your chariot, come down, man. You got your beautiful garment on. Abraham got slaves out there. They working. You look at them, man, and he working. By the time the sun go down, they put them in the ghettos because they're going to be in the ghetto. He pour everybody up the finest wine from Bethlehem. Then you see Daniel. Daniel's there. You get Daniel to salute. He do that to you, man. You see Jeremiah. Jeremiah, he looking, man. He talking to, some young men. You turn around, you see Elijah. Elijah sitting there, man, with his arms folded. He kind of crack a smile. Get out of his austere spirit, kind of crack a smile a little bit. He's happy to see you, man. Then you turn around, you see Jacob, and Jacob runs and gives you a hug, man, and say you're late. Try this new wine I've had, my son. These are the things. So you have to have, the Lord said that you got to be born again. And when you're born again, you're born as a child. And one thing that children have is an imagination, right? You have to have some type of imagination in this knowledge, man. You have to have some type of vision, right? This is Matthew 18:3. And said, verily I say unto you, except they be converted and become as little children, ye shall not enter into the kingdom of heaven. And you have to have that mindset, man. You have to imagine these things. Right? These are the things that you got to think about. You showing up to this wedding. It's a 14-day wedding, man. Remember, you're going to have an entire nation that's your offspring. Imagine one of the 12 apostles and you sitting on the thrones. You have all your wives and they're all in order. And you talking to John, you talking to Peter, you talking to James. And y'all are speaking about, the plans to get all these nations in order. And y'all check in with Yahweh Shai. You're not going to go through that in this life. In this life, you got bills, you got mortgage, you got your rent, right? You got it. This is a nightmare. This is a nightmare. This ain't it, man. This is hell. You got to drive these cars and they break down on you, man. They can explode, So you have to have some type of imagination, man. You got to envision these things. All right, let's read on in Zechariah 8. Thus said, don't read this Bible just to read it like an old white man. You got to get into this thing. Thus said the Lord of hosts, there shall yet old men and old women dwell in the streets of Jerusalem, and every man with his staff in his hand for very age. So you have older men out there, man. They're going to be conversing, talking about righteousness. You're going to have young boys and you ain't going to have gang banging, man. Like when you grew up back in the day, all the kids was outside playing. Kids come in your house, man, whatever, they in your backyard. That's how it was growing up, man. Right? You have to get the water from the, water hose, man. Then y'all in this house, then y'all ride y'all bikes over here, y'all hooping on the, you set the basketball rim up on the street corner, man. You know, you hooping, car coming, kind of move out the way. Right? Old men outside, man. It's gonna be like that times 1,000. It's gonna be millions of kids in the streets playing. And you might just, hey, look, man, for fear of danger, you have to tell your child come in when the street lights came on. Hey, man, your child gonna be somewhere traveling somewhere, man. You have so many children, they just gonna be out there doing their thing. Let's go to the book of real quick, Isaiah, the 11th chapter, right? Let's go to Isaiah chapter 11. You have so many children, man. I mean, you're going to know their names, right? But you're going to have millions of children. This is Isaiah chapter 11 and verse number, let's start at 5. I'll start at 6. And you're going to have a bunch of wives too, man. You're going to have a bunch of wives. And your wives are going to be in order. Remember, Solomon had 700 wives and 300 concubines. So you're going to have concubines too. That's part of it, man. These are the spoils of war. And you can't be emotional. I don't want concubine. I don't know about that. Or I'm just have my one wife. Brother, you're not just going to have your... Now, you can have one wife, brother, but more than likely in the kingdom, you're going to have many women, man. It's my soulmate. I don't want no other wives. Okay, brother. Right? This is the book of Isaiah chapter 11 and 6. Right? The wolf also shall dwell with the lamb, and the leopard shall lie down with the kid, and the calf and the young lion and the fatling together, and a little child shall lead them. So little children are going to be playing with wild animals, man. And you're not going to have lions that attack lambs and wolves that attack goats. The Most High is going to put the spirit in them animals not to attack one another. Imagine a little child leading them, man. And your children are going to have spiritual power. And the cow and the bear shall feed their young ones, shall lie down together, and the lion shall eat straw like the ox. So you see these lions now, the Most High is going to turn them to herbivores, right, in the kingdom, which means they're going to eat grass, they're going to eat straw. You can have a lion and a lamb, they're going to lay next to each other. And sometimes you see that now, even on YouTube, they have these videos where a pit bull or a dog befriends a deer, right? Or they have like it's another one I seen, like a bear and a tiger, you know? Some of these animals that's not supposed to get along, they actually do get along, right? But the Most High is going to turn that spirit up in the kingdom. And the sucking child, this is Isaiah 11 and 8, and the sucking child shall play on the hole of the asp, and the weaned child shall put his hand on the cockatrice den. So you're going to have a child that's nursing. He's going to be able to play with a serpent. Remember when Paul was out there on the island, I believe it's the island of Malta in Acts 28 and 6 on down, it says a serpent bit him. And he took the serpent off and he threw it in the fire. And the people said that this man is a god. Let me get that in Acts chapter 28 real quick. Right? Let's get that in Acts 28 chapter. So they thought that about Paul, man. Because Paul had that spiritual power. This Acts chapter 28, and I'm going to start at verse number 3. Right? Acts 28 and 3. The point is verse 6, but I'm going to read 3. And when Paul had gathered a bundle of sticks and laid them on a fire, there came a viper out of the heat and fastened on his hand. So he put the sticks in the fire, and the viper come out of nowhere and cleave on his hand, right? And when the barbarians saw the venomous beast hang on his hand, they said amongst themselves, no doubt. So these were Israelites. No doubt this man is a murderer, whom though he hath escaped the sea, yet vengeance suffereth not to live. So they thought that the Most High was judging them. And he shook off the beast into the fire and felt no harm. So even if a serpent did bite you in the kingdom, you're not going to feel any harm. You're going to be able to play with it, man. Howbeit, howbeit, they looked when he should have swollen or fallen down dead suddenly. But after they had looked a great while and saw no harm come to him, they changed their minds and said he was a god. So when these heathens see our children playing with a serpent, they're going to say these men are gods. When they see you walking in the plantation with a beautiful garment on and you got 12 lions next to you, man, and they're not attacking you, but those lions, they growling at them, they're going to say these men are gods. They're going to change their minds from thinking you was a nigger and a black man and a darkie and a sample, and they're going to change their minds when they see the Most High with you, and they're going to profess and confess and proclaim that the elect men of Yahweh Bahashim Yahushai, these men are gods, right? So that same spirit in Isaiah 11, and the Apostle Paul was dealing with that, man. But he dealt with it on a minor level, on a lower frequency, for lack of better terms. But the Most High is going to turn that volume up, and you're going to be able to deal with these wild beasts. You know? And these beasts, they can feel your spirit. Like a dog can know if you got like a demon on you. There's certain dogs that know when you're about to have a heart attack. You know? They know when you're sick. Dogs are trained for that, to be in tune with man. Certain cats, they know when it's about to be a thunderstorm, right? When it's about to be an earthquake. Certain birds, they know when a storm is coming from the south. And you're going to have that understanding of the course of nature and the spirits based off of your interaction and knowledge of beast. You know, you're going to know when it's going to storm. You're going to know what that dog is doing when he does that when he walks in that circle, and what that means for you. Why that cat went over here, right? And why the birds are flying east. So you're going to look at the birds flying east and understand that it's a thunderstorm coming. You're not just going to be worried about, well, what did the weatherman say? You're going to know all of the elements and where they come from, and the knowledge of the stars and what the constellations mean. And you're going to fulfill your duty on the earth. Let's go to Genesis 1 real quick. Right? You're going to fulfill your duty on the earth, man. And what do I mean by that? Why did the Most High create man? Right? Let's go to Genesis 1. Right? What was the original design for man? Why was man intelligently and strategically designed by the Most High God? Right? This is Genesis chapter 1 and verse number, let's start at 20. I want to get straight to the point. Let's start at 28. It reads, and the Most High blessed them, meaning man and woman. And the Most High said unto them, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, and have dominion over the fish of the sea, and over the fowl of the air, and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So it's not just be fruitful and multiply. The Lord said you also have to subdue the earth. When you subdue something, you conquer it. When you subdue something, you also have mastery over it. Right? You have gained the upper hand. And that's how we're going to be on the earth. We're going to be able to subdue the earth and have the knowledge of the herbs. You're going to be an apothecary. Right? You're going to have knowledge of war and be an expert with weaponry, right? With swords and battle axes. You're going to be an expert with the bow and the arrow. You're going to be an expert in reading people's minds. You can wave up the sea, cause a tsunami, right? The Lord controlled the sea. You're going to be able to deal with the beasts of the field. You're going to be able to understand what the Most High is telling you through the constellations, right? You're going to be able to look at man, and man is going to be able to look at you. And these things are you're going to be an enhanced, like I said, a terrestrial angel. You're going to be like an angel on the earth in the world to come. And you're going to be able to subdue the earth. See, right now, the earth subdues man. Men die in quicksand. They drown in the middle of the sea. They get smashed by a tornado, and the earth has dominion over you. Well, you were created to subdue the earth. You get attacked by sharks, and you're running down an alley from a Rottweiler. These things will not be so in the world to come. And you're going to finally fulfill your purpose and actually subdue the earth, right? Through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shem Yahushai, man. Right? And I want to read that last part, if I didn't read it already, in Isaiah. Right? So these are the things that we look forward to. And you got to look forward to this, man. Right? You have to, dream about these things. Imagine these things. Stop thinking the end-all, be-all is you getting a promotion at your job. That's vanity. Stop thinking the end-all, be-all is you hitting the lottery, man. Look at the things around you and know that these things are nothing, man, compared to what the Most High is going to give you in the world to come. Your car is nothing, man. The car that you want is nothing. I don't care how you feel about it, man. Your money is nothing, and the money you obtain is nothing. Your clothes, that's garbage, man. Your jewelry is vain. That's in this life, man. Everything's cheap. It's less value. It's made of weaker materials. It's corruptible. Let me go to 2 Corinthians real quick before I get that. And we got to say it like that, man, because Jake, man, you really looking at this so-called white man's kingdom like it's the glory. Like this is it. The hell with this man's kingdom, huh? Right? In his present evil world. Right? This 2 Corinthians chapter 4 and verse number 17. For our light affliction, which is but for a moment, worketh for us a far more exceeding and eternal weight of glory. So you're going through light affliction. Whatever you're going through, it's light affliction. It could be worse. It is going to get worse. Jacob's trouble is coming, right? But just understand, it's only going to be for a moment. And if you go through it, you're going to have an exceeding glory, an eternal glory that's coming to you if you endure. Here's the point of verse number 18. While we look not at the things which are seen, but at the things which are not seen. For the things which are seen are temporal, but the things which are not seen are eternal. Temporal meaning only here for a moment of time. It's only here for a moment of time, man. It ain't forever. It ain't real. All this is like an illusion. It's a facade. It's a joke. And if you get caught up in it, then you were created to get caught up in it. And you're worthy to get caught up in this life, man. You're worthy to be a friend of the world. You're worthy to be caught up in vanity if you're caught up in that. But if you're the elect, the Most High is going to put your mind on these promises, on the world to come. And you're going to meditate good things in wisdom and reason of holy things by understanding and know why the Most High created man, to subdue this earth, man. And you've never been able to subdue anything in life. You've always been told what to do, when to clock in, when to make a payment, when not to make a payment, what highway you could get on, what road is blocked off. You're always told what to do. Even these top elites, man, they get arrested for tax evasion. I mean, top Jake celebrities, they get arrested for tax evasion, man. You know, they're paying child support by the hundreds of thousands. They don't have any liberty, man. These guys, they're getting all these tattoos. They got all these demons on them, man. They regret selling their soul. They want to go back, but their lives are over, man. You know? So this Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 12, and it's like Wisdom of Solomon, chapter 2, and verse 23. For God created man to be immortal and made him to be an image of his own eternity. So the Lord created man to be immortal. Man. You were created to be immortal, right? We are the true immortals, man. Not those guys from the movie 300, man. We're the true immortals, man. Right? We're going to live forever. And you're not going to get sick of living forever because every day is going to be a joy unto you, man. Right? All of your wives are going to be in order. They're going to be a joy unto you, man. You're going to decide what wife you want to be with, man. All of your children are going to be a joy unto you, man. It's a joy seeing your children, man, in mirth and gladness. And imagine having thousands of children. Stop looking at your house like it's the best house ever, man. You're going to have true mansions, multiple cities that you own. You know? You're going to have all these things. Remember, Solomon had cities. He had entire cities for his horses alone and his chariots. He had a city for his chariots. He had a city for his storehouses. And that was in this life. That was in this life. He had that. So understand that you were made to be an immortal, that you were made to be immortal. And the life that you have is nothing, man. This is not it. Jay, well, I'm on a diet. That diet don't mean nothing, man. No, I'm not saying don't take care of yourself, whatever. Hey, but this fruit ain't real, man. Hate to break it to you, man. That fruit ain't real. And I bought a fruit bowl. When was this? This is last Sabbath. You know how to get the fruit bowl and you get all that. Now they say you're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to buy your fruit on its own. And we had a fruit bowl, man. Had the watermelon and the pineapples, all that stuff. So I had some watermelon and stuff, left it out there on the plate. I went there the next day, man. It didn't do what it was supposed to do. The watermelon wasn't watermelon, right? It was like you touched it, you picked it up, you kind of bend it, and it kind of bent like rubber and it snapped back. I said, oh man, you gotta throw this stuff away, man. The fruit don't turn brown anymore. A fly land on it and a fly died. We gotta get out of here, man. Right? We were made to be an image of his own eternity. And eternity is actually an habitation, man. Right? You're going to live outside of the realm of time. Let's get that in Isaiah chapter 59. You're going to live outside the realm of time. Right? This Isaiah chapter 59. Let's get this. Right? It's an actual habitation. Isaiah chapter 59. And that's what I want. If not, I'll have to let's see, bear with me. All right, let me just get this for sake of time. In the book of Isaiah 57, right? I was on 59, Salakia, right? Isaiah 57 to 15, right? It reads, boy, man, there's all this madness, right? Let's go back to this. Isaiah 57 and verse 15. Right? Isaiah 57 to 15. Like I said, man, this should motivate you. It should exhort you, right? To look at this world and know that it's nothing. And know that the Lord has a world to come. This world wasn't made for us, man. The Lord said the earth is given to the hand of the wicked. We have our own world coming. Isaiah chapter 57 and verse number 15. For thus said the high and lofty one, that inhabiteth eternity, whose name is holy. I dwell in the high and holy place with him also, that is of a contrite and humble spirit, to revive the spirit of the humble and to revive the heart of the contrite ones. So the Most High, he's the high and lofty one, and he inhabiteth eternity. And you're going to be able to inhabit eternity. You're not going to inhabit the hoods of Baltimore. inhabit the hoods of Miami. You're going to live in eternity, literally inside eternity, right? So you're going to live forever and ever and ever and ever and ever. And you're not going to grow weary, and your bones ain't going to hurt, and your back ain't going to hurt, and your eyes ain't going to go dim like Isaac. And even Jacob and his righteousness, his eyes went dim, huh? And time and chance happened to them all, right? Time and chance ain't going to happen to us in the world to come, huh? Right? Time and chance is oppressing those who have this flesh, right? Those who have this flesh. So these are the things like we've been going into. This is what Yahweh Shemel Shai calls the world to come, right? Let's go to Matthew chapter 22, right? Matthew chapter 22. So brothers have to look forward to this, man, right? These things should excite you, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai, right? This is, let's see, Matthew chapter 22, right? And verse number, bear with me. Actually, that's not what I want, Salaki. Let's go to Isaiah chapter 54. Right, let's go to Isaiah chapter 54 through the spirit and power of Yahweh Shemel Shai. Right? And I want to get Job as well, right? As we wind down. This is the book of Isaiah chapter 54 and verse number 9. Right? I'm gonna start at 8. Isaiah 54 and 8. This whole thing is good. Let's start at 8. In a little wrath, I hid my face from thee for a moment, but with everlasting kindness will I have mercy on thee, saith thy Redeemer. You got to think about that too, man. The Lord is going to have everlasting kindness on us. It's no more, oh man, I'm going to get judged. I went off. I got to repent, right? It ain't going to be none of that. What did I do wrong? Was this judgment? That's a horrible life, man. Discerning time and judgment. Man, is this for my wickedness, or is this the Most High chastening me? No, you're going to have everlasting kindness from the Most High. You're going to have that absolute confidence, right? Verse number 9. For this is as the waters of Noah unto me. For as I have sworn that the waters of Noah should no more go over the earth, so have I sworn that I would not be wroth with thee, nor rebuke thee. It ain't going to be no more flood by waters. So in the world to come, there's no more rebuke from the Most High, right? For the mountains shall depart, and the hills shall be removed. But my kindness shall not depart from thee, neither shall the covenant of my peace be removed, said the Lord that hath mercy on thee. O thou afflicted, tossed in tempest, and not comforted. Behold, I will lay thy stones with fair colors, and lay thy foundations with sapphires. And these are also prophecies. Stop thinking the only prophecies are ICBM missiles and Jacob's trouble and the chariots. There are more prophecies than those three that the Most High gave us. There are prophecies for your benefit and for your comfort and for your consolation in the land of the living. Not just for evil and death. It's not just famine and death coming. It's life and promises and immortality coming as well. You know? Verse number 12. And I will make thy windows of a gates, and thy gates of carbuncles, and all thy borders with pleasant stones. And all thy children shall be taught of the Lord, and great shall be the peace of thy children. In righteousness shalt thou be established. Thou shalt be far from oppression, for thou shalt not fear, and from terror, for it shall not come near thee. Behold, surely they shall gather together, but not by me. Whosoever shall gather together against thee shall fall for thy sake. So this is what the Most High has in store for us, man. All you have to do is be willing and obedient. And you'll have this spiritual power. You'll be able to see Yahweh shine in the kingdom. There's no more, man, I wonder what his woolly hair is like, or his red eyes, and man, you know, what the Lord is going to be like. You're going to see the Lord, Remember the Most High, Yahushua said rather in Luke, the 22nd chapter, he said, I will no more drink of the fruit of this vine until I drink it new with you in the kingdom. So imagine Yahushua giving a toast in the kingdom to all of the elect. He got this huge table, right? For the 144,000. And he stands up in his great glory, man, as the chariots zoom by and all of the angels praise the name of the Lord. And he has the wine that's in your glass, man, right? Snaps his fingers, it does a miracle, whatever. And everybody, the elect, they have wine in their glass. And I'm not talking about that red cup. See, the days of this, right? The days of this are over too, man. Right? You're not. That's part of this life. You're not going to be what are we going to have cups? Do I write my name on it? It ain't. You're not going to be writing your name on your cup. No double cups and red cups. See, in the kingdom, you're going to have what they call a what is that called? Not a goblet. Man, it starts with a C. Right? I'm trying to think of it off the top of the head. But it's a fancy cup. If you know the name of it, you can put it in there. Right? But it starts with a C. Right? But they also have, let's see. There's another name for it. Right? You're going to have, it's called a goblet, but there's also another name for it. But you're going to have the finest glass in the kingdom. A chalice, that's what it is. The water is a chalice, right? See that? Right, let's pull this up. Right, it's not going to be this cheap gold, man. See, even in Zechariah says that we were drinking wine out of bowls. That's how loud we're going to be. So you're going to have these glasses, man. You're going to have gold. You're not going to have this red paper cup. So when Yahushua drinks it new with us in the kingdom, you're going to have this chalice. You're going to have a beautiful garment on. And the Lord is going to hold his cup up, man. You're going to drink that wine with Yahushua. Let me prove that real quick in Luke 22. Imagine that, man. Right? You're drinking wine with the Lord. You got brothers that want to get drunk right now in your wickedness, man. Right? That's sick. This is Luke chapter 22 and verse number 18. For I say unto you, I will not drink of the fruit of the vine until the kingdom of God shall come. So he's not going to drink that till he drinks that with that elect. That's going to be a toast. That's going to be a powerful event right there. Right? The Lord finally get to drink some wine and relax, man. He went through all of the suffering already. All of the oppression. All of the judgments, man. And he's going to finally be able to drink wine with the elect. Let's go to Matthew. Right? Actually, let's stay in this chapter. Right? Let's stay in this chapter. This is Luke chapter 22 and verse number 29. I'm going to start at 28. Yea, are they which have continued with me in my temptations. This is what he told the apostles. And I appoint unto you a kingdom as my Father hath appointed unto me, that ye may eat and drink at my table in the kingdom and sit on thrones judging the 12 tribes of Israel. You know how when you was growing up, you had the kids' table, you had the grown-up table, you had the kids' table. You got grown-up conversation, right? They might be drinking, they might be playing cards, you know, they might be whatever. That's the grown-up table. Then the kids' table, you doing what the kids doing, man. The kids was running around or doing God knows what, man. In and out the house, getting yelled at. And then you got the grown-up table. Everybody couldn't go to the grown-up table. See, in the kingdom of heaven, you got different tables. Yahushua is going to have his table. And that table's for the 12. It's going to be 13 seats there. Not a 14th. So you should strive to sit at that table. And you got to imagine. Even you got to think about it. When Joseph received his brothers again. Remember, he gave Benjamin, I believe, twice as much food as everybody. They had more, man. So yeah, Yahushua's table is going to be different, man. It's not going to be like everybody else's table. Just like Benjamin, he had twice as much from Joseph. See, the 12 to 8, they're going to be on a different level. Then 144,000, they're going to have their area. And the 1/3 going to have their area. And those men who barely make it, they're going to have their area. And they're going to be in the back, like in the nosebleeds. Like you're in the nosebleeds, you kind of can't really see what's going on. Hey, but you made it to the game. Yeah, you in the stadium, you watching the game, but you in the nosebleeds. So the thrill of it is not the same as the guy they sit courtside. The 12 going to be courtside, for lack of better terms. And they're going to see all of the action. And they're going to judge the 12 tribes and put all of the men in order. All of these things are coming to those in the world to come. See, this life ain't it, man. Like I keep saying. These are the exceeding great promises that Yahweh B'Hashmi has in store for his servants, for those that endure, for those that despise wickedness, for those who walk in their integrity, for those who understand what's at stake in the last days, man. Salvation is on the line every day. The kingdom of heaven is on the line every day, not just during the days of Jacob's trouble. You have to make a decision right now. Are you going to serve the Most High? You have to make that decision. Abaratazah tomorrow. Are you going to serve the Most High? Every day you're faced with the decision. Do I want good and evil? I mean, it's like an evil and death, or do I want good and life pursuant to Deuteronomy chapter 30 and 15 on down? These are decisions that we're faced with every day. If thou doest well, shall thou not be accepted. If thou doest not well, sin lieth at the door, and unto thee shall be his desire, and thou shalt rule over him. Right? So be mindful of these things, man. Right? That you're mindful of the promises that the Lord has in store for us. Right? Let's see how many promises there are in the Bible. How many promises? So let's type this right. Promises are in the Bible. Look at this. Look at this. 8,810 promises. And Jake, you're going to give all that up, man. Now, this includes slavery, putting nations in captivity, the promises of salvation, all of that. 8,000. And I'm led to believe that they missed a few. You're going to miss out on all of these promises to smoke a blunt, man. To not get your house in order. To hold on to a grudge. To not be circumspect about these demons. To not examine yourself. You're going to miss out on almost 9,000 promises. Let's see what else they say. See that? A grand total of 8,810. I'm led to believe there's more. Over 7,000. Right? Over 7,000. Really, they're saying over 8,800. Right? And we're going over some of these things, man, through the spirit and power of Yahweh B'Hashmi. Right? The Lord said we have exceeding great and precious promises. Let's go to 2 Peter chapter 3 and 1. Right? We winding down. 2 Peter chapter 3 and verse number 1. This second epistle, beloved, I now write unto you, and both which I stir up your pure minds by way of remembrance. And this lesson is to stir up your pure minds, man. See, this is going to stir up the minds of those who are pure, those who are sincere. They're going to examine themselves and think about the world to come and what the Most High has, that new utopia, not this dystopia that we're currently going through, man. Right? And we mentioned the spiritual power, right? How you're going to be in tune with the elements and all of the things that you're going to see and go through in that world, man. And your mind should be stirred up to put your hand to the plow to obtain these things. Verse number 2, that ye be mindful of the words which were spoken before by the holy prophets, and of the commandment of us, the apostles of the Lord and Savior. And if you make it, you're going to see those holy apostles and prophets. Like I said, you're going to see Isaiah the prophet, man. You might be able to see Elijah. It's going to be righteous women there, man. You sisters, you might see Esther telling you how it was when she had to deal with the king and all of that, man. You might go to Judith's house, man, with her husband, and Judith make you a meal. You go over there and you got to make a decision. Okay, I heard, Judith, she's going to be there. And I heard that Daniel's going to be there. But David said he's teaching weapons of war too. So you have to make a decision. Do I want to go to David's war room and he shows me how to use these weapons? Or do I want to go to Abraham's house because he's throwing a feast? They might be at the same time. So in the kingdom, in the world to come, you're going to have to make a decision. Right? I'm going to Abraham's feast. Right? Then you have 7 other million people. They going to David's. Then you might have 10 million people. They going to Daniel's, man. Right? Because Daniel, he wants to talk about what happened in the lion's den. Then you got 1,000 million other people there in Noah's house. And Shem is there. And Noah and Shem, they're sitting down and they're just breaking things down to you. Right? So there's going to be so much going on, man. So much going on. Just like any other city, like worldly cities, you got stuff that be popping off, man. Oh, do I go here? Do I go here? And that's in the wickedness in the world. It's going to be like that in the kingdom, man, with the apostles and prophets. But that's for those who are mindful and those who endure. And you'll be able to see the world to come. So with that, we're going to close up, giving, of course, all honor and glory to Yahweh. By Shema Mashiach Malak Yahushai. Right? Most High willing, you are edified. Most High willing, you keep the Sabbath holy. No buying, no selling, no cooking, no work, no sex on the Sabbath, no vanity, no speaking your own pleasure, no doing your own words. Keep the Sabbath day holy through the spirit and power of Yahweh by Shema Mashiach Malak Yahushai. Again, Most High willing, you are edified. Kwam Yashalom. Shalom.